Hi, my name is RWalker, and this is my contextual inquiry for the Joule Sous Vide by Chef Steps app. This is the same application that was reviewed in the user interface comparison assignment. And just as a recap, the Joule Sous Vide cooking system has two components. It has a heating element here, and then it comes with an application that's free, and that's here, and it's showing you the level of doneness of the food. So you can see the steak that they actually cooked here matches what's on the screen there. You don't have to use the app with the actual Joule Sous Vide. It does connect to it and control it. But if you want to use the application just for recipes or tips and tricks, you can actually use it with another sous vide device as well. It just won't connect and you'd have to program it manually. So this study focuses on the use of the Joule application. So I do actually have users that used various types. I had some use the Joule and somebody used an Anova, which is a different brand. So I created several user personas of people who might be likely to use this device. So it's got some advantages and some disadvantages. So our first user persona is Carol Reed. She's a food blogger. She's 46 years old, and she's got a medium level of technology. She says, seafood is a favorite protein to cook because it's so versatile. And her biggest frustration is one of my pet peeves as well. It's too easy to overcook delicate foods with traditional methods. If you've ever had overcooked seafood, it's pretty terrible. So her goals with this are check out the latest trends in cooking styles, spend more time with guests during dinner parties, and serve perfect steaks at multiple different temperatures and have these delivered at the same time. So her scenarios are going to be to cook her favorite recipes using new technology, which will be this device and app. And she wants to control the cooking process remotely. That will allow her to spend time with her guests during dinner parties. She can start and stop it from her mobile phone. And then she can time her meals to ensure that the food is cooked to each guest cooking preference. That way you don't have to worry about standing over the grill and being stressed out about, who wants well done or who wants medium well. Our next user persona is Henry Swan. He's 37 and he's a Pilates instructor. Despite his phone and computer here, he actually has a low technology level. And he says he wants healthy meals without spending hours in the kitchen because obviously he's in the gym all the time. His biggest frustration is complicated kitchen gadgets. And his goals are meal prep for the week without a lot of kitchen time, maintain a healthy diet using simple recipes, and have a meal ready to go after a long and active day. The scenarios where he'll use this device are cooking enough protein and veggies for multiple meals that he can easily reheat. He can explore preloaded recipes that will guide him quickly through the process, and time cooking so that his food is ready at a specific time, like when he gets off of work. And our last user persona is Katrina Coleman. She's a clinical microbiologist. She's 29, and she has a high technology level. Her biggest frustration is she's not always sure if food has been cooked to a safe temperature. So her goals are ensure that the food is thoroughly cooked but not overcooked, retain texture, flavor, and the nutrient levels in food that can sometimes diminish from overcooking. And she wants to try new ingredient combinations under controlled conditions since she can tightly control the heat being delivered to the food through the use of the Joule device. So her scenarios where she'll use this are she wants to use the recommended cooking times and temperatures. She wants to avoid overcooking and degrading the food quality. And she wants to also be able to manually make small changes to optimize her personal results. And she says, the science of food fascinates me. So for this study, I actually ended up having 5 people that volunteered and wanted to do this. So I took all 5 of their results. But I have 3 user profiles based on their experience level. So with the first user profile, they didn't have any experience with the Joule app or with sous vide cooking. And I had 2 people that were in that case. User profile 2 is they have experience with both the app and sous vide cooking. And then the user profile 3 is they don't have any experience with the Joule app, but they do have experience with sous vide cooking. And I have 2 users in that group. Both of those users have a different brand of sous vide device that doesn't have anything to do with the Joule app. I had to make a couple of assumptions on this one. So the first assumption is that the user had access to everything that they needed to complete all of the tasks. This was mobile phone, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, power outlet, water, pot, bags, ingredients. I supplied some of those, so maybe they volunteered because they wanted free dinner. Maybe, I don't know. A way of recording their results, and either the Joule sous vide device or another programmable sous vide device. The one that the other two users used is called the ANOVA, and it doesn't connect to the app, but it's fairly similar. It does have hard programming buttons, so they can use it however they want. My users were all neurotypical. They didn't have any physical or mental impairments. And they were all familiar with the concept of sous vide cooking, although only a couple of them had used that method previously. So for my test method, I asked a couple of people if they wanted to participate in this evaluation. I thought some would say no. They all said yes. So great, I got a lot of users. And if needed, they were provided with any required items. I had one person borrow my Joule and another person had his own. And then two other people had the ANOVA brand. So prior to doing any of the tasks, they were read the script that we'll see on the following slide. And the users were monitored. Either I was present in person or we were able to do a video chat because two of the people actually don't live in the state. So we did Facebook Messenger video in one case, and then in the other, we used Google Duo. It did not answer any questions about the app itself. Users were instructed to pretend I wasn't present for that aspect. They did ask questions about cooking related issues or clarifications that didn't impact the results of the study. So for example, one person cooked shrimp and he did not want to devein the shrimp. They were already deveined, but he was very concerned that he would have to do that and he didn't. And then he wanted to know what to do with it once it was finished. And I said, whatever you would normally do with shrimp, whatever you want to do. So you'll see in a minute what he made. And then there were some clarifications that people needed. So there was a cleaning task and they wanted to know if they actually had to clean it or just find the instructions. Just finding the instructions was okay. And then they also wanted to know if it was okay to deviate from the Joule recipe after cooking, as long as they used the recommended time and temperature in the app. And since that was the task, I said, yeah, whatever you want to do with it after that is fine with me. So this is the script that they were read, and this was verbatim for each user. For this study, you will perform several tasks using the Joule application. This is an evaluation of the Joule application and how easy it is to use. You are not being evaluated on your cooking skills. Any difficulties encountered will be considered an area where the Joule app may not be providing clear instructions on how to perform the task. Ingredients and a Joule sous vide device will be made available to you as needed. You may choose which food you want to cook from the selections available in the Joule app. Please record your experience using screenshots, photos, or video, and be sure to note any areas of difficulty. I will be available to monitor your cooking experience, but I will not be able to answer any questions about the use of the application. Please complete the following tasks. So these are pretty easy tasks since it was like a 5 to 15 minute thing for this assignment. Task 1, download the app. Task 2, pair your app with Joule. The ANOVA users did not do this task. Task 3 is pick the desired food and prep and cook the food per the instructions in the app. And task 4 was locate instructions within the application on how to clean the Joule. So acceptance criteria. This is a pass-fail test, and so the passing result could be demonstrated through visual confirmation. So if I was in the room and I saw them do the task, that's my confirmation. A screenshot from their phone display or a photo of whatever it is that they were doing, or a video. I actually didn't have anybody that wanted to do a video, and plus for two of these people, we were doing a video chat already, so that made it a little bit more difficult to have a lot of pictures of the food. Difficulties or deviations were noted, but I don't know that those necessarily indicate failure of the task, so we'll see where those come in later. So here are the results from user 1. This is a man, he's 49 years old, and this is my person that cooked shrimp. And so you can see here he made a very nice shrimp taco with those. He passed tasks 1, 2, and 4, and I'm considering him a fail on task 3. So no issues downloading the app. Nobody had issues with this. For task 2, I was a little confused by this. He said he used Bluetooth because he didn't want to deal with configuring Wi-Fi, but he was using my Joule in my house, so I was already configured. I'm not sure why he thought that was something he was going to have to do. Anyway, it wasn't a task he was required to do. So his fail, he had a lot of problems moving from the recipe mode into the cook mode. It should just click right on through. He did not review through the recipe before doing anything. He like jumped right in. He like opened the app and started prepping the food right away. So he didn't pre-read. He exited the app a couple of times. He was using Google to do searches for time and temperature. And so he was really going back and relying on looking things up rather than trusting the Joule app to guide him through this process. He did say that he liked the, this is a quote, delightfully lowbrow language that was used in the app. I think this is related to saying that deveining shrimp is removing black stringy things and to use a glug of olive oil. He didn't follow all the prep instructions before putting the food in the bag. He caught that error and he corrected it, but he completed that part of the task before doing that. That's not his use error. His use error is the app really clearly states wait until the water is heated and then put the food in. He put the food in right when he started the water, and so it wasn't at the proper temperature for cooking. I stopped him at that point. I noted the use error. There was a concern for food safety because I don't know what that slow heat up would do to the food. And then on task 4, he completed that. He said that the help and support menu isn't where he would have expected that information to be. It's actually in 2 different places. It's in help and support and tips and tricks. I think everybody else accessed it through the other menu. Anyway, so we'll move on to user 2. User 2, female, she's 36 years old. She passed everything, flying colors, pretty much no issues. She did have some problems getting the login. She also used my Joule device, but at her house. And so I got to eat at somebody else's house. She has some 2-factor authentication and she kept getting this critical error. Finally, she stopped doing that. She logged in with email. She proceeded with no issues. When her phone would go to sleep, she would notice that when she would go back into the application, it would say connecting to the Joule. So like if she wanted to stop it, she couldn't do that immediately. It keeps cooking. So I don't know. It cooked, she got notifications, and yeah, everything was great with her. She really liked it. She said chicken was perfect. User 3, this is one of my ANOVA users. So you can see her device and setup up there on the top right. She can actually program this. I'm not sure if she did this through the ANOVA app or if she did it on the device itself, but that's what that one looks like. It's a little bit different. Anyway, no difficulties or mistakes. Task 2 wasn't applicable to her because she wasn't connecting the Joule to hers because she used the ANOVA. She loved this app. She had really nice things to say about it the entire time. She made chicken thighs. And I didn't post a picture because she said they were too ugly to post because she kind of mushed them up in this guacamole thing. Anyway, she said she thought this app was a lot more useful than the ANOVA one. She said it was really intuitive. She read through all the steps before she started anything. So I thought that was interesting that these 2 users who are roughly the same age had this different experience. She's going to keep the app to use again. She did say she hunted for the cleaning instructions and they weren't obvious. It wouldn't have occurred to her to clean the device at all. So I don't know how the ANOVA gets cleaned. She went into the different pathway, which was tips and tricks, not help and support, to find those cleaning instructions. User 4 is a male. He's 39 years old and he made soft-boiled eggs using his ANOVA. And here's a picture of them up there. They look really pretty if you like soft-boiled eggs. He had a lot of concerns about downloading what he perceived to be like a homemade app. I think he thought that I made an app that I wanted him to test, like something I created. And I had to stop him a couple of times and tell him like, no, I you just go to the app store and it's right there. Um, I don't think this was a difficulty or mistake. I think it was in a miscommunication, like he didn't understand the assignment. Um, so for task 3, he inadvertently stopped the timer that he set on his phone. So he's an ANOVA user, not using the Joule, so he couldn't go through the time and temperature setup and just start cooking. He had to do a couple of extra steps to do this with his ANOVA. So he ended up pulling out 1 egg to check it, and he let the remainder cook a little bit longer. So he likes this egg recipe. It's a little different from the one that ANOVA gives him, and he's going to continue to make them this way. He thought it was easy to find the cleaning instructions. He used tips and tricks, and he didn't have to press many buttons to find this info. I'm going to make a note that the 2 people who had trouble, like, were passed with errors, both of them have PhDs. So they were the 2 most educated people that were in my study. I thought it was funny that they were the 2 that made a mistake. And my last user, he really wanted his picture in. I told him I wasn't going to put it in, but he's making a really goofy face there, so I covered it up. Anyway, he already has his own Joule. He's been using it for about 2 months. We got ours at roughly the same time. So he says that he had difficulty reaching the required cooking temperature. I think this is a hardware issue, so this is not an error, but he ended up adding more water to the pot and then he had no issue. There is a way to do this manually, so he could have gone in and like maybe lowered the temperature by a degree or 2 and then continued to cook like for 20 minutes manually, but he didn't do that. He said it didn't occur to him. And no issues or mistakes with cleaning, although I think he has cleaned his before. So to sum all of this up, some of the users did have difficulties. They were able to successfully navigate through those and continue on with their tasks. There were 2 errors that occurred. User 1, he inserted the food before the water was heated, and user number 4 failed to set his timer, although I still feel like this is a test artifact related to him using the ANOVA rather than the Joule device. I don't think he would have made that error with the Joule. Everybody liked the app and they all liked the food that came out. And so I'm going to consider this a success because user number 2 is going to purchase one of these. User number 3 preferred the Joule app to the ANOVA app. She's going to keep it for recipes and tips, even though she can't connect it with the ANOVA. And user number 4 was familiar with sous vide but hadn't cooked eggs that way before. And so he said he's going to continue using sous vide and this time and temperature again, although I'm not sure if he's going to keep the app. So everybody liked it, and it was really interesting to watch people go through this process. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.